Well, hi, everybody. My name is Danielle Matthews. For those of you I hadn't had a chance to meet yet, I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here this evening, that this has crossed your path and that you've decided to join us. I truly don't believe in coincidences, so I know you're here for a reason. And I want to start off this talk in, I don't know, I think about maybe it's a little unconventional way to think about things, but I want to share my screen. And if someone could just give me a thumbs up that you're seeing a genie lamp at the moment. Perfect. Thank you, Susan. Thanks, Steffi. Okay. So what I want you to think about is pretend that you're in the Disney movie Aladdin and you're walking across the desert and you stumble across that lamp and you know what it is. So you pick it up and you start rubbing it and whoosh, the genie pops out. And the genie says to you, "Your wish is my command. However, you only have one wish." My question is, what is that wish for you? And if I could grant you that wish, what would it be? Would it be time freedom? So you could spend your time with your kids, with your grandkids, going on vacation, doing what you really want to do, not what you have to do. Would it be financial freedom? Not having to worry about or stress about extra bills, just having the relief of what financial freedom brings you. Would it be a wish for your dream house? I know I would love a home in the mountains. Would it be for a better quality of life? Perhaps you want a better quality of health. That was a wish of mine for a long time. Maybe you've always wanted to be your own boss or have the ability to work from anywhere in the world. Perhaps you've wanted to take a dream vacation and your wish would be to be able to go on it. Or maybe, you have everything. It's just you don't have a sense of purpose. And you've got, a good job, you've got friends, family, a roof over your head, but you just feel like there's a little bit something missing and you're not sure where to find it. Or perhaps you want the ability to help those in need. Whatever it is for you, the reason I ask is I want you to keep that wish in the back of your mind as we go through this presentation tonight. And at the end of this, this may or may not be for you, but it's possible that this is the vehicle to help you get to your dream. And so I want to share with you what happened when I asked myself that very same question. I graduated from the University of Virginia about 10 years ago. And after graduating, I decided to work with a company or an organization called Teach for America. My year, about 40,000 people applied to that program and 4,000 got in. And I was placed in Denver teaching, as you can see, these kids up on the screen here. So I was living out in Colorado. I absolutely loved it because I got to snowboard on the weekends and see the impact of my dedication and my work in the classroom with my kids during the week. But unfortunately, during summer break, I was hit by a drunk driver and I sustained injuries that prevented me from being able to continue to work. And ultimately, I ended up losing my job, which meant I lost my income and I lost my independence. And for 2 years, I really struggled with my health as well. In fact, doctors actually told me that this was simply my new normal. Thankfully, though, someone had the courage to bring ASEA's Redox technology to my family. And that's finally what allowed me to start functioning again. And it truly is what gave me my life back. And so once I was able to start working again, I just started thinking, what do I want to do with my life? If I could wish for anything, what would it be? And I think as kids, we dream, and then life, it kind of sucks it out of us. And my car accident, quite frankly, it woke me up. It reminded me that tomorrow's not guaranteed. And I'm sure you've had wake-up calls. Perhaps it was a divorce or you lost a job, your home, maybe you had a death in the family. I think that this pandemic, it caused a lot of us to start to reevaluate some things in our life. And so whatever that moment has been for you, where you realized, how life can change instantaneously, sometimes you start realizing, what, I needed to make a plan B before I needed my plan B. And so it's my intention to just wake other people up to this fact and to inspire them to reach for more in their own life. I think that, we're all one decision away from a completely different life, and we all have infinite potential within us. So for me, once I regained my health, I started thinking about what it was that I wanted to do for work. And a few things were very clear to me. I wanted to figure out a way to have purpose in my work. I wanted something that would allow me to have time flexibility, so I wasn't stuck, with X number of vacation days a year and not being able to take time off if I needed to. And most of all, I wanted something that was going to pay me even if I couldn't work. And I thought that last little thing was a bit crazy because I didn't know how that could happen. I was brought up, and all my ways of making money was, you get a job, you work X amount of money, you make X amount for that. But after my accident, I couldn't work. And so I couldn't put the time in, so I couldn't earn money. And I just thought, I don't want to be in that situation again. Is there a way where I can create passive income? And that's when ASEA showed up and ended up being the answer for me. This is a photo of some of the lives that I've been able to touch since saying yes to this business 5 years ago. And, I worked other jobs at the beginning while I built up this business to a full-time income. And about 1.5 years ago, I stepped into doing ASEA full-time. Now, this doesn't happen overnight, but I figured time's going to pass anyway. So why not build up something like this on the side so that in the future, I could have the flexibility that I was craving and that passive income that I wanted. I will tell you that I have grown so much personally, which has been easily the most rewarding part of all of this. Now I have friends all over the world that I get to work with, and I'm connected with a company that has a really powerful mission. It's something that feels that it's much bigger than myself. And, I've been very intentional about creating an environment. I think of it as the right soil for the seed of potential that's within everybody on my team, for it to be planted in good soil so that it can bloom and it can grow and they can each step fully into their own potential and their power. And it's just beautiful to witness, seeing this concept come into reality and watching my team members grow and bring their dreams into reality. In fact, in this photo, you can see the little lady next to the woman in purple. Her name is Dr. Frances Tran. She's a tiny little thing, but she is feisty. And this was taken right before the pandemic. We just had our first event in Florida since the pandemic, and she put 60 people in the room. And it was just beautiful to witness her kind of growing throughout the last, 1.5 years. So I also think with this business, what's especially exciting for me is, I had no business experience. My degree is in biology. I didn't know anyone when I started this business. I had been in bed for 2 years because of my injury, and I still was able to build my business entirely from the cold market. So if you're thinking, how do I do something like this? I'll tell you, if you have friends and family, trust me, it is a blessing what you're going to share with them with ASEA. And they deserve to know about this gift of Redox. But truly, there's ways to build a business beyond them. And in fact, what I want to share with you is the very simple 3-step system that I used and that you'll be able to leverage to build your business and build the income that you need so that you can create that dream. So the first step is simply we connect with someone that you know or that you get to know on social media, in your community, or of course with loved ones. Step 2 is you ask them a very simple scripted question to see if they're open to taking a look. And then the third step is you introduce them to a video or a presentation very similar to what you're watching now, so they can decide, is this right for me or not? This is my friend Ricardo. Ricardo lives in Washington, D.C., and he's been working for the government for the last 15 years. And he was one of those that was feeling really uninspired with his work. He felt like it was lacking purpose, and he wasn't being pushed or growing at his job. And it's interesting because he found ASEA initially because he was looking at what the benefits were for his health. And he couldn't stop talking about it to his girlfriend, Ruthie. And so she suggested that he engage with ASEA. So with no business experience, Ricardo found a mentor in the company and began learning and following the simple system. And so he has worked this alongside of his full-time government job. And now he's created a steady income and is looking to be able to eventually quit his job so he can focus solely on this work because it truly gives him purpose. And so I'm sure you're wondering, what are the costs involved here and what do you get? The first thing and the number one thing is mentorship. Step-by-step mentorship, where we show you and we take you through the system the right way. Think about the most successful athletes in the world. They pay for top coaches and mentors. We need people to believe in us, a community of support, if you will, to belong to, and coaching to help us become all that we're meant to be. That's our philosophy here at ASEA. We call it believe, belong, become. So you have all the wins and you get the results that you need to be able to succeed and ultimately reach your dreams, because that's what it's all about. The second thing is you get a business in a box. You'll receive a website, wholesale membership, a monthly supply of Redox products. You're going to be leveraging a first to market discovery, a breakthrough that you only see honestly once in your lifetime, called Redox Signaling, which we'll discuss briefly in a moment, but I just want to put this out there. If you wish to learn more about that, there's a great call tomorrow evening at this time on discoverasea.com. And next Tuesday, a member of ASEA's medical board is going to be going more in depth about the science and the research behind Redox. And we invite you to go there. Dr. Carolyn Hoffman will be answering questions live. So the third thing that you get here with this business is community and support. You're going to have access to our special community where you get all the support, all the help that you need so you can truly become a pro at this. There are incentive trips that you can win, and there's so much more. What's really nice is that unlike traditional business, you don't have to worry about marketing tools, customer service, product production, shipping, IT, promotions, research and development. All of that is taken care of for you by the corporate team at ASEA. And so I'd actually like to take a moment to talk to you about this company, ASEA, that you'll be partnering with and the genesis of the company. To put it simply, ASEA exists because they chose people over money. When a pharmaceutical company attempted to buy and shelve their Redox technology, the gentleman in charge, his name is Vertus Norton, he said no. Morally, he decided he couldn't go through with the deal because he felt this deserved to be in the hands of people around the world. And so he said no to a multi-million-dollar offer. And instead, he founded this company whose mission statement is to better people's lives and to be a force for good in the world. So rather than big pharma benefiting from this breakthrough, you can actually choose to become a steward of this technology yourself. Now, what's interesting about Vertus Norton, the founder, he was the VP of strategy at Kraft Foods, so a Fortune 50 company, and he helped mentor other top executives in that space. But he made a decision, a very strategic decision, to bring this Redox technology to market through word of mouth. And so he founded ASEA as a network marketing company, where he brought these Fortune 50 disciplines in since day one. So decades of experience running legacy companies has actually formed the philosophy that created ASEA. So we simply say we are legacy, and we challenge you to find another company in this industry as committed to legacy as we are. Often it's said that we're a bit of an endangered species in the network marketing industry, meaning we're rare, hard to find, and incredibly valuable. To put it in perspective for you, ASEA is not a startup. We're celebrating 10 years in business, and half of network marketing companies don't even make it to 5 years. A third of them make it to 10. Last year, ASEA was recognized as one of the top 50 global network marketing companies, and they have been profitable since their first year in business. In fact, they have grown year after year, reaching 180 million in sales in 2020. And they have financed their own operations. The advantage of that is that they don't have any long-term debt, which allows them to be really flexible and navigate uncertain times. And I think we all can agree that this pandemic has certainly caused some uncertainty in the world. But regardless of that, ASEA has still grown. In fact, they were more profitable in 2020 than they were in 2019. So you're going to be open for business with ASEA in over 33 countries with literally the click of a button. We have 20 different global distribution centers throughout the world. So there's a very solid infrastructure laid for product to be able to make it to all of these different markets very quickly. We're a legacy company, and it's really up to you to create the legacy that you want here for your family. What's really interesting is this business is willable and inheritable to your children. So beyond all these numbers, which are fabulous to know, what I really love is that this movement has a soul behind it. We have our own character. It is specific, it is unique, it's a bit peculiar perhaps in the network marketing space to put so much emphasis on culture, but it's a corporate priority to share and to teach about our ethos, our corporate soul. In fact, our founder actually has a podcast titled Corporate Soul. And essentially, we belong to what they call a P over E company, where people and principles and purpose come before ego and economics in every decision. Truly, I believe we invite the best of humanity to shine through here and awaken belief and hope in people. You know, we each have unspeakable worth and unlimited potential. And I think this is exemplified not only in who we attract to partner with this company, but also in the Advancing Life Foundation. ASEA's nonprofit organization, they have been working to break the cycles of poverty, abuse, and suffering around the world through partnerships with organizations like Operation Underground Railroad that is fighting human sex trafficking. And they have done so much more. And what's beautiful is, you know, we give without the expectation of return because we know that people matter no matter what they can do for us or what role they play in our lives. And so I shared with you a little bit about this company. And, you know, let's talk about what it actually means for you, though. I would say, simply put, this is an opportunity. You have no boundaries. There's no borders for earning here. The opportunity will meet you where you are today with whatever time and skills you have, just like it met Ricardo in his full-time job, no background in being able to build a business, but it takes you wherever it is that you want to go. If you feel like you can't scratch the itch of your own potential where you are now, then I would submit that perhaps you belong with us. And if you bring a desire and a willingness to try, we will give you a story like none other to tell. I truly think this industry has been hidden from very capable people for a long time. It is more compelling than you've considered and looks nothing like the network marketing of the past. In fact, did you know that most global thought leaders recommend network marketing to build initial wealth? This is where you learn leadership, public speaking, teaching, training, decision-making, self-image, how to overcome mental blocks so you can truly become the best version of yourself. It's kind of like climbing a mountain. Yes, it takes effort, but summiting it, it's going to bring you joys that you would never get in everyday life. And I would tell you this, it is better to climb with others and let your mentors, let your coaches lend a hand and show you, and help you get where they've already gone. This is a friend of mine, Edwina. She was a stay-at-home mom who made the decision 3 years ago to use our simple system to be able to afford the ASEA products that her family needed for their health reasons, honestly. And she thought, well, if there's some extra cash for bills, that might be nice. But 5 months after starting to share, not only had her family regained their health, but she had created enough money to take everyone on an overseas vacation to Australia for 16 days. Since then, she has decided to help other mothers and other families have that same financial freedom so they can create options for themselves. So with a first to market product that is massive in its impact on people and their health with no competition, it's literally the product that creates the opportunity here. And likely, you have some insight into what ASEA's products do. Perhaps you've had experience with them yourself. And you're here because you know it works and you can't help but want to share it with others. For others of you, maybe it's the first time you're looking into this and you're really looking at this as a business. And so this is the first time you're learning about Redox. What I'll tell you is that talking about Redox is in and of itself its own webinar space. This is not the place really for me to dive deeply on this technology and how it works, but I'll give you a brief overview so you get a sense of the power of this and why it's so unique. Redox is the energy that powers life. And I want to share with you what supplementing with redox molecules actually brings the body. The way I look at this is these signaling molecules, they're in every cell of our body and they help our body do 3 main things. First thing is that redox molecules in ASEA have been shown to boost the efficacy of antioxidants. And I think we're all familiar with antioxidants and the power of them. For example, glutathione, it helps our body to detoxify, it helps our body deal with inflammation. These antioxidants, though, that they're in us, it's kind of like having a bunch of light bulbs, but no electricity. Redox is the electricity that comes into our bodies and turns on these light bulbs. So these molecules go in and signal things on, and that's why our antioxidants efficacy is increased. The second thing these molecules do is they're the signaling system between our cells. So they're the call for help that goes out when there's damage or a mutation. Unfortunately, though, as we age, we make less of these molecules, which is why we start to see chronic issues that start to creep up in adults that we don't see in kids. And it's because that signal has gotten weaker and weaker. It's kind of like having 1 bar of service on your cell phone and trying to make a phone call. Without the signal, your phone can't do what you need it to do, right? It's basically a high-performing camera. But the same is true in our body. Without a strong signal, your body cannot detect, repair, or replace any damaged cells. So using ASEA's redox products essentially gives your body more bars of service so that your body can detect and repair just as it did when you were young. And the third piece is that redox molecules are the signaling system inside of our cells. And on the back of the bottle, when it arrives, at least here in the United States, you'll actually be able to see this study that was done on gene signaling. Now, if you're not aware, due to stress, aging, environmental toxins, our genes inside of our cells, they get turned off. Even if in healthy young people this occurs, and it's not necessarily something that you're feeling happen. In fact, what I love about this study is it was done on healthy young people. The average age was 35. And as I read through these things, do a mental checklist. Do you know someone that has an issue in one of these areas? The first gene they looked at was the gene that helps impact the initial immune response, the innate immune response. The second was one that helps control the inflammatory pathway in the body. Now, when we get together in person, we can have people stand up and we say, okay, let me read through this, sit down. When you hear something that you have an issue with or would benefit from, or someone that you love does, everyone would be seated with that. And I think after this pandemic, so many of us are top of mind. It's how do I keep my immune system strong? How do I keep myself in a prime state of health? But it looked at so much more. So they looked at a gene that also impacts cardiovascular health, gut health, and hormone modulation. And I think what's interesting is for a long time when it comes to our health, we have been focused on giving the body more materials that it needs to function, the right nutrition, the right supplementation. And I think of our bodies kind of like a construction project. Yes, if you needed to repair your house, you could have all the materials that it needs, but they'd be sitting on the lawn if the if the contractors didn't come to the construction site. The job wouldn't get done. You need that labor force. So redox is the labor force in the body, right? It's the energy that powers everything. So here at ASEA, we have the materials your body needs, good nutrition with our ASEA Via line of products, but we're the only ones in the world that can offer the labor force as well. And redox it's like putting more construction workers on the job site. Many people ask me, how much do I need to take, or how long will it take to work? And the answer is really simple. It's just like repairing a home. It depends on the extent of damage that there is and the number of workers you have on the job every day. People typically range from taking 4 ounces a day to 8 ounces a day of the liquid redox to help from the inside out. And then they use the topical on their body daily to support from the outside in. This redox technology is the most advantaged and differentiated part of us. We are the first to promote the power of redox. And I think the world is starting to wake up to cell signaling and cellular health, genetic pathways, and we are innovators in this space. Okay, we are pioneering the power of redox in service to cellular health. ASEA was born from innovation. This is not the 2.0 version of some other product. And what's interesting is that because it is a category creator, I think it is something that is easy to define, but it can be hard to understand because we're ahead of the curve. So let me be clear about something. ASEA did not invent redox. Redox is a huge field of science. If you go online to pubmed.gov, you'll find over 30,000 articles on the subject of redox signaling. They celebrated the 22nd annual Redox conference last year. Redox is gaining acceptance, understanding, and momentum. Universities across the world are dedicating entire programs to study it. What makes ASEA a category creator is they are the only ones in the world that have been able to create redox outside of the body in a stable state. And what's really exciting is that ASEA has just announced the Virtus L. Norton Center for Redox Life Sciences to further establish and develop innovative technologies in this redox space. So I will tell you this, we don't have to be science experts. That is all taken care of for us. As I mentioned, come next Tuesday night, you get to hear from a member of the medical board and let her explain the science, the research, if that's of interest to you. But most people, they generally want to know, is this safe and what is it going to do for me? And so I want to share with you 2 incredible sites that you can go to and you can see the powerful impact that these redox molecules are having. We have access to thousands of testimonials that have accrued over the last decade. So you can go onto Facebook in this group called ASEA Healthy Self. You have to be invited into it, but there's around 175,000 people in there sharing stories, sharing experiences. You can go into the search bar and search, to see what people dealing with similar issues have experienced when they added redox into their system. I'd also recommend going to realredoxresults.com and listening to the video testimonials there. You can hear mine. It's actually the first story on that site. And you really get a sense of how literally this technology, it gave me my life back. And so by now you're probably wondering, all right, well, how does this business actually work? What do I need to exactly do? What's involved here? And the best way I can explain this is actually with an analogy. And I want you to imagine that you've stumbled across a great little restaurant in your neighborhood and you have a fabulous meal. So you go home and you tell everyone about the amazing food and the amazing service, and you post pictures on Facebook and on Instagram, so much so that your friends decide they want to go to the restaurant too. And at the end of their meal, the owner comes over and says, well, hey, how did you find out about me? And they all say, oh, my friend Danielle told us. So he's thrilled, he thanks them. And at the end of the week, the owner sends Danielle a thank you check for $10 for each of the friends that came and ate there. A thank you check. Now, this is kind of where the analogy breaks down, because this doesn't actually happen in traditional businesses, but I want you to stay with me. Imagine now that every one of those friends begins talking about this great little restaurant and they share it with people that they know. And so the restaurant owner keeps sending Danielle thank you checks because she was the initial link. But now her friends that referred people are also getting thank you checks. So more and more people keep learning about this great little restaurant, and more thank you checks keep getting written. It's a win-win-win scenario for all of those that are involved. The people that are going to the restaurant are getting a great meal. The owner is growing and becoming better known in his business. And those that are referring something good are getting a thank you check for that. Now, I already mentioned at the start of this talk, we share with people that we know or that we get to know through a process where we leverage social media or our local community and our current contacts. This is a word of mouth business. So the more you talk, the more you share, the more you decide to try, the more people, decide to give this a try, and the more thank you checks you get. And ultimately, the closer you get to your dream. That is what we do here, except this is not some great little restaurant. We are actually sharing a breakthrough with people that is providing hope, and it is changing lives. And it is truly a win-win-win scenario because you share with people and they get improved health. The company gets to grow and you get thank you checks along the way. And so everything you earn is in direct reflection to lives that you're changing, that you're touching. And so at the beginning of this presentation, I asked you to think about, if I granted you one wish, what would it be? And if that wish came true, what does it mean for you? The time freedom, the financial freedom, more purpose like Ricardo. Whatever that is, what's it worth to you? And what's your plan right now to get it? And what obstacles are in the way? Perhaps this is your vehicle. So the only question is, are you ready to start breaking through those obstacles so that you can get your dream? I have here the income disclosure statement for 2020. So you can see the average monthly income in the second row. What do you think an extra $300 a month would do? And even more importantly, what rank do you need to achieve the dream that you want? And who is your current mentor? And where is the path you're on currently taking you? You have a coach and a mentor standing by, ready to help you achieve it. And I love this quote by Martin Luther King. He says, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. And so at the end of conversations like this, I find people are in one of a few buckets. The first is you want to partner with us. You're interested in partnering with us. You want to take this seriously. You really want to bring that dream into reality. And we're excited to coach you and to have you join us and to support you in that, in overcoming those obstacles so that you can become and then earn the income that you desire. The second is the product bucket. You simply want to try these products as a customer or, to be proactive with your health or with a family member. We love our customers. We actually have a great supportive community on Facebook where you can get to learn how to use the products and continue to discover more and more about this breakthrough. And we look forward to hearing what it brings you. The third bucket is a potential referral. Perhaps this isn't for you, but like I said at the beginning, I know you're here for a reason. So perhaps you know somebody that could benefit and needs a little bit of extra money coming in to their household. Now, if I had a time machine and I could take you back and you could meet Jeff Bezos and he told you the vision that he had for selling books and delivering household items, I want to ask you this. Would you have had the vision? Would you invested with him? Because I'm telling you, this is like knowing about Jeff before Amazon took off. This is a product that uniquely helps every individual without any toxicity or risk. It is going to be in every person's household. You just received information about a breakthrough that majority of people don't know is here yet. And the person that invited you here tonight thought enough of you to ask you to be a part of this. And so I want you to be truthful with yourself when I ask you this question. What is the worst that can happen if you say yes? I will tell you, the worst that can happen is you probably spend $40 to join us in business. You buy some products that help you with your health, but you're not coachable and you don't follow the process and you don't see success. But honestly, the best thing that can happen, it's whatever you decide. Because like I said, this meets you where you are today and it takes you wherever it is that you want to go. And I will tell you, no, it's not a perfect option. But it is a better way. And so I want to show you the best way to get started so that you can have the greatest impact with the people that you know, love, and care about. Sometimes people say to me, I'll share this product if it works for me, Danielle. And I just want to put it out there. The research has shown over the last 10 years, this helps 100% of the time in 100% of people. But it does something different for everyone. So what it does for you is kind of irrelevant to how it can help someone else. And beyond that, I have never watched a scientific study be done on one person. So what I'm going to share with you allows you to get your friends and your family started on this product so you can quickly have your own story to share. So here it is. You're going to get mentorship, the global business in a box that we talked about, community and support. With this option, you get free membership. You get $310 of free product, and you start 15%, getting 15% back in the rewards program on current and future orders. And you also have the ability to earn incentive trips. Now, all of that should cost you thousands of dollars. I think just imagine what it costs to hire a coach. But all of this listed here is included in our entrepreneur pack. And that is priced around $1,000 US. This is going to cost you less than a weekend vacation to Disney World with your family. Now, if this option doesn't fit your budget right now, there are other options available starting around $250 US to begin your partnership with these Redox products. So if you decide to partner with us, our goal is to show you as quickly as possible how to make your investment back. So the person who introduced you to this presentation, they're going to get back in touch. Do yourself and do them a favor. Give them your honest feedback. Let them know your thoughts. Share with them your dream. Discuss if you'd like to proceed with us or not. We attract really passionate people to this company, those that want to help others, and they see the vision for where this is going and how it could be, how big this will actually be. And so I certainly hope to see you on the other side. And now, before I open it up to questions, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to a woman that has been a leader to me, truly in this business, and has also become a dear, dear friend. I think about her like my second mom. She's taught me so much. Debbie Wexler has been with ASEA, gosh, I think it's coming on 10 years, if not already at 10. She is $1 million earner with the company, and that simply means she has helped thousands of people around the world learn about this. She has an incredible story of why she decided to be part of ASEA. And what I'd love to do, Debbie, I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I'd really love to play your video because there's a great website. It's called redoxresults.biz. And I need to actually share my screen again so you guys can see it. Let me find it. So, okay, you should be seeing it now. This website, it has a lot of stories on it about people that have decided to do this business. And I just feel that you deserve to see the heart that Debbie has and how this came into being. And then she's going to take it away from there, answer whatever questions you might have about this business. However, I need to share my sound or else you're not going to hear what Debbie has to say. So this is a 2-minute video, and then we have Debbie on live with us. So give me one moment and we'll get her pulled up. You still see it, Debbie? Can I get a thumbs up? You're on full screen? Okay.
My ASEA story started 8.5 years ago. So I was an interior designer, I owned my own company, and I was very successful. I stepped down in about 2007 to work for a man who had an amazing children's website. And unfortunately in 2008, he went bankrupt. And I was left with really nothing coming in. I had been divorced and I was a single mom. And it was very, very scary. I had looked and looked and looked for jobs for 6 months, went through all my savings, was completely bankrupt pretty much. I found a job as a server in a restaurant, and I was working from 10 in the morning till midnight or 1 or 2 every single day to make enough money to stay in the home. When I got the letter of foreclosure, I just didn't know what to do. I felt pretty hopeless. I went upstairs, I got on my knees, I said the biggest prayer I've ever said, and the very next morning before I ever got out of bed, a friend of mine called from Colorado to say, Debbie, there's been a breakthrough and it's something you might want to take a look at. And I jumped out of bed, I looked up, I said thank you, I ran downstairs, I watched that video, I was so excited. And I decided to do this as a business myself. And it saved my home. In just working 20 minutes a day, I was able to contact enough people, and after a 1.5 years, one of my proudest moments, I was able to pay for my son's wedding rehearsal, which I never would have been able to do a 1.5 years earlier. I wouldn't have even been able to give him a wedding gift, and it's just changed my life. I always wanted to be able to support myself and never have to depend on anyone else. And I just really, really wanted to make myself proud and then make my family proud. And being able to show them that I could do this and I could make a living while making a difference. It enabled me to go to the grocery store and buy groceries and not have to worry about not paying my electric bill until I could make enough money to pay for that. And trust me, we had not much to begin with. We were eating a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and things like that just to get through. So it was tough. It was very tough for a while, definitely. And ASEA just gave me my life back.
I love that video. It makes me smile every time. So thank you, Debbie, for coming on. And if you want to take a moment to say hi, and then I'll hand things, fully over to you to answer whatever questions people have tonight.
Absolutely. And thank you, Danielle. And it was 11 years ago, actually, when I started. And it was like I had rubbed Jeannie's lamp, and every wish I'd ever thought I could ever have in a business, a community, friendships, an outstanding product that helped save my mother's life for another 5 years, was just all given to me. And I know it came through prayer, and I know that that's one of the things that can happen for people. And this is something I'll never look back. It's given me purpose literally every single day. When I hear stories about what's happening with people, and I hear them every day, I'm on the phone, I'm on webinars, and people tell me what's happened since they started taking the product. And it just gives me goosebumps all the time. And there's nothing I would rather do than do this, just to help people with hope. And one last thing, I was just talking to a lady. She's been passing out, she's been dizzy. The doctors can't find anything. She's had so many scans and so many tests done, and they don't know what's wrong. But the lucky part about these molecules is they don't care what we call it. They just go and find those damaged cells. And she is so hopeful and so excited about trying this product to see what it's going to do for her. And it's people like that. There are people out there with no hope, and this can give them hope again. So that's why I do this. And we're looking for people that kind of feel the same way, that want to really help people and would like to make some extra money while they're doing it, because this can give you a little bit of extra money, or it can give you a lot. It was able to finally fulfill my dream of owning a nice home in the mountains, so that I could finally come back to Colorado, which is a state I loved, and to be able to have friends and company in as often as I like and entertain them. And that's what my dream, one of my dreams was, that home that you showed. So anyway, so I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Danielle is also very good at answering questions, but so if anybody has any questions about the business or anything, please feel free to unmute yourself. I think you did such a great job, Danielle. I don't have any.
Well, if you can't unmute and you want to put it in the chat.
I have a question if you can hear me.
Sure, we can hear you.
Either Danielle or Pauline, I was wondering how many years you guys have been distributors with this company?
Well, mine will be 11 this year, and then another couple of months. And Danielle's been in for 7 years, I believe.
Yeah, I started taking the product in 2014, and then I started sharing it in 2015. So about 6 years of doing the business.
Danielle, you've been in 7 years. Can you tell me how many people you sponsored into this company in 7 years, and how many customers you brought in, and how many people in your organization?
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. So what's really fun is I've done this entirely in the cold market. So I met everyone through local community events. And then recently in the last year, since the pandemic, I went online on social media. So I was just looking at my numbers. I've sponsored around 100 customers that I've brought in that solely just wanted to use the products and enjoy the products. And I brought in the same number of associates, people that have said that they wanted to do the business. My organization, I believe it has over 1,000 people deep in it, and I built it up to the platinum level. So I'm consistently gold every week. The way that this compensation plan works, it's kind of interesting. I had to be taught this because I thought, what's going on? But we get paid weekly. And so it takes a little bit of time to stabilize your business, to be bringing in the same amount of volume every week. So my business is a very stable gold business, and has also hit the platinum level several times. And so, I'm working to get it stable at platinum, but a stable gold business will allow you to not have to work a full-time job. So it's been wonderful, but it took time. It's something that it doesn't happen overnight, but it can for anybody, even if you have no experience with the business. You just I was told, be coachable, Danielle, read the books, apply what you're learning, and be willing to put in the work every day. You have to be consistent. I think this business is something that if you're not consistent with it, what do people say? You treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. Yes. If you treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. But it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because it's a low barrier to entry. So, it doesn't cost much to start in business, but I think take it as serious.
So Danielle, it appears you brought in maybe 12 to 15 people a year. At what, for 7 years, at what point did you feel that maybe, I'm assuming you're still recruiting people, but it seems to me, based on this video and what you do, I just came into this company that you're actually working with a pretty good sized organization as opposed to continue to sponsor people. Is that the way you're taking your business now, working and helping people?
Yep, exactly. They say that you need width in your business, which comes from you personally bringing people in, which is great. The more width you have, you think everybody's the doorway to at least 200 people. So if they open the doors, all of a sudden your network, it just grows, it grows, it grows. It's like the ripple effect in a pond, right? It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you end up having two roles where, you're always telling people, I can't help but tell people about this. It's like either for the product or for the business. But then you have to help in depth. So there's a lot of training and support that goes in depth with people.
I have a couple more questions. One question probably come up before since I'm so new is when someone asked, how in the world does this one product address so many different issues? I mean, when you begin to look at A through Z, and I'm so new, I haven't really had enough time yet to get involved, but when you go to amazing molecules and go to the video testimonials and A through Z, and you start reading about, almost just about every medical issue or problem that's out there.
Yes.
And a question has come up, how does one product address all this? Or puts the body in a position to strengthen it so much to where it actually helps every one of these issues?
Well, it's the incredibility of your body, for one thing, and these are made in your body. But these molecules, like we said, just don't care what scientists or doctors call anything. It could be lupus or MS or Parkinson's or cancer or Alzheimer's or autism or any of that stuff. They're all damaged cells to these molecules. And so these molecules will go where the body tells it, and the body's going to tell it to go to your vital organs first. So it's going to start with your heart and your liver and your kidneys and your digestive and gut health. If those are okay and or they need to repair them, they'll repair them. When those are okay, then they'll start working on other issues in the body, basically. So, if you have like my eyesight, I had worn glasses since I was 12. I just kept drinking these molecules. I wasn't necessarily even expecting it, but I realized at some point that I didn't need my glasses to be able to see long distance anymore. And so I haven't worn glasses in, 8 years at this point. And I'd worn them since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So it depends on what's going on with your body and your chemistry, and the molecules will go where they're needed. So if you've got mental issues like Danielle had, it'll go there. Go ahead.
A question about prevention. That's came up today with a friend of mine in Chattanooga, Tennessee. In other words, someone that considers themselves fairly healthy.
Yes.
Very minor, if any, medical issues. And then, so my question is, by getting on the product or either both products, as a prevention. I mean, I have one kidney. I have 0 prostate. That was removed January the 11th.
Okay.
And I've had the kidney went 18 years ago, and the prostate went January the 11th, 2021.
Okay.
So when I talked to the gentleman that did the video in Atlanta, number 74, he had an issue. It was no question that I join and get on this company, get in this company immediately. But there's some people that feel like they're completely healthy. So from just a preventive scenario, what could you comment about that? Because that question came up today about someone who thinks they're in great health. The problem with this lady is she's 71 years old, and the problems are coming because that's just life.
That's just life is right. Well, I go back, I
So
quote,
from preventive standpoint,
right. I quote a scientist that's pretty well known, Dr. James Watson of Watson and Crick, who discovered the double helix of DNA and won a Nobel Prize, started working with redox molecules. And he eventually published an article in the Lancet Medical Journal, pretty much stating that type 2 diabetes, cancer, and brain disorders are the lack of redox molecules. But what he said really struck me. If we had enough redox, we would never have disease. Because these molecules, if you are keeping to make them, if you were making them like we did when we were 5 years old, they would constantly be finding the issues and having the body repair and replace them. Most everybody, as we know, has cancer that starts in their bodies at some point, but the body is meant to take care of that and tell those cancer cells to kill themselves off, and then a healthy cell next to it will replace itself with another healthy cell. In that way, cancer itself would never grow and start forming tumors and stuff like that. Just like my eyesight, if these redox molecules had been talking to my, detecting the molecules that were damaged, I wouldn't have had poor eyesight. So they just keep going. They're meant to keep going to all the issues that start cropping up, and especially as you get older. But the problem is when we run out of them,
right.
They do crop up. But now we're able to replace them, and so it takes care of those issues. And it's
Okay, thank you for that. In other words, 11 years ago when you joined this company, I'm assuming you brought some people in that did not have very serious medical issues at all. Maybe some that did not have any problems, but they could see the benefit of the molecules. So they joined anyway.
One of my
at an
first
early age,
friends, one of my first friends was Peggy, and she didn't have any issues at all. She just understood what this was and got on it. And she's been on it ever since, and she hasn't had any issues.
All right. Well, thank you for all of that, and thank you for your time. And
where do you live? What state do you live in?
I live in a state that we play football in.
Oh, Oklahoma.
Show my cap to you. Oklahoma, no. Alabama.
Okay.
When I went to Alabama, Johnny Musso was playing football. But thanks for asking. You ever heard of the Crimson Tide? Yeah, I make a joke. We pay our players to play at Alabama. I mean, all we do is win national championships. So I have to brag.
You're not
Roll Tide,
prejudiced at all, are
Alabama. If you're a football fan,
of
not
course,
one bit.
I am. Well, welcome to ASEA.
What city are you? Thank you. Where are you located?
I'm in the mountains of Colorado, outside of Golden.
I see. Well, come on down to Alabama if you guys want any wild caught U.S. shrimp. Come see me.
All right, we will do that.
Thank you again.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and welcome to the team.
Likewise.
Are there any other questions at all?
Debbie?
Yes.
Yeah, Susan here from the Philippines.
Yes. Hi, Susan.
Yeah, I want to ask because you said a while ago that you started, it came out to be a prayer, no? And out of the next day, somebody called you. So it's not more about you having a health problem.
No.
So how did you get started with it? Because me, I had Bell's palsy, remember?
Yes, I do.
And I'm okay.
And you're okay. Is right.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me the story, how you get started with it, considering it was not a health issue that you were addressing when you get into ASEA.
Well, I'll make this as brief as I can. I first took it to a scientist
Mhm,
at the National Institute of Health, and she told me all about these molecules, and she couldn't believe somebody had stabilized them. And she basically told me that, she'd been studying them for 17 years. She couldn't believe it. And, they'd had scientists from around the world come to NIH, and she just said, if this is true, she said, this will change the health field as you know it, basically. So she educated me about it. So with
mhm,
that knowledge, I knew I could help people with it. And
mm,
so what I did, at that point, I was working double shifts in a restaurant. So I had a 20-minute break from 4 to 4:20 every day. And I would take names out to the car, and I'd eat my food, and I'd call 3 people a day. And I'd call them and just say, Susan, I'm calling you. I care about you. I only have a few minutes. I'm on my break. And, but I've learned about something extraordinary, incredible in the health field. Because I care about you, I'd like you to know about it. Will you take 5 minutes to watch a video? Well, all my friends said yes. Hopefully you would have too. And then I said, okay, and I'm going to call you back. I won't know how to answer the questions, but I'm going to have somebody on the phone with me who can answer the questions. And I would book Cindy Buck for that 20 minutes the next day so that I could call with Cindy. And I was learning while Cindy was talking. So she was answering all these questions because she'd been to a lot of fly-ins and been to the headquarters, and she knew all the stories that was happening. And she was able to answer their questions and overcome their objections and stuff like that. And they're like, well, it sounds like the fountain of youth. Yeah, why wouldn't I try it? So that's how I got started. And then, as Danielle said, once you go through your warm market, and I had a lot of people in my warm market, I've lived a lot of places. But I called all of them, and then you just start reaching out to, then you get referrals from those people. They all wanted me to
mhm,
teach others about it, and it
mhm,
just kept expanding into different countries and stuff, as you know.
mhm,
And so it got just very exciting. And then, I was a part of networking groups, so I'm networking, and I do private Zooms with them, and I explain what ASEA is. If I'm anywhere, I start, if somebody asks me what I do, I'll tell them, and I'll say, if you'd like to know a little bit more about this, I'd be happy to explain it to you. Most people say yes, because if you can entice them with something of interest, then they do. And then lastly, I've been reaching out on Facebook and social media, like Danielle's been doing, just to reach people that I don't know, because it's become
mhm,
such a passion of mine that I really want people to know about this.
mhm,
And
mhm,
I'd love
mhm,
to change the medical field here in the United States, especially. The Asian countries are already pretty healthy. They don't depend on drugs as much as we do in the
mhm,
United States. But
mhm,
man, I'm so sick of getting told, here's a drug for this. So
mhm.
I'd love to change that. So anyway, I've got a big drive and a big passion, but that's how I got started.
Thank you, Debbie. That's very good for us who are just starting. I've been here for 2 months
Well,
only.
you're not just starting, you've already reached the rank.
Thank you.
You've been talking to a lot of people, so good for you. But yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm
You
sure you'll
can't help
continue.
it. It's good news. They've seen my face. This is the face that has introduced me to the ASEA journey.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. With your beautiful face now. So congratulations again on bronze. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, Danielle, if you'd like to close it out, you did an awesome job tonight. Thank you for all the knowledge.
Of course, yeah. Well, thank you all for coming and thanks for your questions. Debbie, I'm already getting text messages saying, wow, this is brilliant. I really enjoyed it. When's Debbie back? So I know that we'll be back next Wednesday having a similar conversation, and we always bring, an amazing person on that's had great success with the business. So usually either Dr. Silverman or Debbie. Someone's asked we got a question in the chat. How do you approach doctors? So we'll answer that and then we'll leave for the evening. So Debbie, I'm gonna let you answer that.
Well, I'll put my own experience in. Some of the doctors I already knew, so I had a relationship with them. So I was just able to talk to them like any other regular human being, right? But when I moved here to Colorado, I started going to doctors, and I would just ask them if they know anything about redox. And that would be kind of my first question. And they'd kind of look, and one of them actually said yes, because he's very young and he does a lot of research. But any other doctor, I have even booked appointments for 15 minutes and paid for them. And the doctor would walk in and he'd say, what can I help you with? And I said, you can listen to me for 15 minutes. And they kind of look at you, but you can then, but I got this down from the video. So you'd have to talk fast because doctors don't have much time. So I just say, I don't know if you remember back in medical school, during the Krebs cycle, when the mitochondria takes the food you eat, turns it into energy, it throws off reductants and oxidants. Do you remember that? Yes. Okay. They have finally figured out what those do. And reductants now turn on and activate your antioxidants. Oxidants are what allow your cells to communicate and signal. And one of their biggest jobs now is to go and detect damaged cells, send a very clear signal to the immune system. So the immune system now knows where to go. It has the address of where to go in your body to go repair and replace any of those damaged cells. And the so what to this is we've seen incredible results. My company that I work with has been the only one to be able to make and stabilize these molecules outside the human body in a bioactive form. Would you care to know more information about that? Are you open? And if he's not open, I go, okay, this will be the last time I see you, because I want doctors who are still doing their research and still finding out about things. And I will say that. But I have that kind of posture at this point. Anyway, I haven't had anybody say no, so they've always been open to more information. And then you can kind of tell them about the studies of PubMed. You can tell them how this has been validated to be redox. And you can, if you know this, you can tell them that we first took it to Harvard, UCLA, Universities of Washington, Indiana, Utah. They all validated it, came back, asked our founder, how in the world did he stabilize redox molecules? He laughed and said, it's patented. I'm not going to tell you that, but thanks for validating it. Then he took it to the Human Performance Lab in North Carolina, associated with 7 universities, Duke, UNC, NC State, and Appalachian State. And they actually put it in a $500 million machine, a nuclear resonance spectrometer magnetic machine. So he had to do that to validate that these were redox molecules before he ever did the metabolite study. So they validated it. That we were redox. And then lastly, we took it to Bioanalytics on the back here, run by PhDs in the North Carolina Triangle. Their job is to test, they now test 8 out of the top 10 biotech and pharmaceutical companies for ingredients that they say are in their products. And we say we're redox. So they test our batches for redox. They stamp the back of it to prove that it is redox. And with that, you can show this to a doctor and say, now you can go to the studies on PubMed and know that we're redox, and go look at the studies with redox and PubMed. And then I also have memorized all the different redox research centers that are open in the country. And it started with the Medical University of South Carolina, went to Cornell, Harvard, Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, University of Virginia, Colorado, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Stanford. Those have redox research centers open. Every medical study student now are all studying redox. Just speaking to a lady that went to MIT, that's all she talks about, redox. So they're all studying it in medical school now. So it's a huge area of science. It's very pertinent. It's the hottest, one of the hottest areas of science. And that's how I get doctors to listen to me. So I have typed up some of that, and if anybody wants it, I guess I could send it to them, just because, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get it out to the world, and you've got to know how to talk to be able to do that. I don't say all that to a normal, non-medical person. It's too much. Anyway.
Yeah, so Debbie is a wealth of knowledge. You're tapping into 11 years of discussing redox and understanding, and her conviction has grown in 11 years. So yours will get there too, I promise. When you start to see this work, when you start to see the lives being impacted, you can't help yourself but want to share. So Debbie, if you want to type that out and send, you can, but everybody, it'll be on a recording. So we have this recorded, you can see it.
Where I could post it is on Debbie's Diamond Club.
There you go.
Most people on my team belong to that. So, okay, I'll put it up there.
Wonderful. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You are truly a gem. It was really
How
fun
are
having
you?
you on. So we hope that you all have a fabulous evening. Thank you for spending the last hour with us, and we'll hope to see you next week. Bye, everyone.
All right.